Hi, welcome to Get Connected TV. I am Colette Phillips, your host, and today we have an incredible guest, Mr. Raj Sharma. Raj is a managing director at Merrill Lynch and the head of the Sharma Group, which is a wealth management consulting group, and he is #1 in Massachusetts for 4 years running and one of 100 in the country of the top wealth management financial advisors, according to Barron Business publication. Raj, welcome to Get Connected TV.
Thank you, Colette.
How does someone who is an immigrant, came to Boston with no access to any network, was able to end up as the #1 financial advisor in Massachusetts and one of 100 in the country for 9 consecutive years? Can you share your story with us?
You know, when I started my journey after Emerson, and as you know, being in the communications business, you've got to be entrepreneurial to survive. And it's not easy, getting hired. You go project to project. So that did teach me some survival skills, how to compete and how to do well and how to have a product which is differentiated. But my sense is, when you are in any business, whether it's financial services or it could be your own company or, graphic design, printing, what have you. The most important thing is to be a resource, first of all, before you sell anything. And I think one of the great things about America is people admire competence, people admire skill, whether it's the plumber coming to your house, getting things done right, or it's your financial advisor. And I spent a great amount of time really understanding the craft of financial advising, understanding the markets. Even today, I read about 2 hours a day, and that's how you sort of sharpen your toolkit. So when I started off, I realized that I was brand new in the business. I mean, I did not have a track record. Nobody knew me. And I felt perhaps my best contribution is to be a resource to people.
You and I know that networking is so vital to everything we do. My personal mantra is, your network is your net worth. And I would love for you to share with us some of your advice, some tips that you can give to someone who needs to understand how to leverage their network to build their business, to access a job, and to just connect with other people who can help propel their career, both personally and professionally.
The best networkers are those who try to help people. At the end of the day, if you're helping somebody with the expectation that you're going to get a favor, that is really not a network. And you've demonstrated that in your career, Colette. And by offering to be a resource to people, by helping them out, and without an expectation of specifically them doing business with you, is a terrific way to build your network. And once I started getting clients, let's say I got an entrepreneur as a client in the biotech area, I would connect them with other people in the field. Maybe a scientist I know who's got great expertise. And I wasn't in the employment business, but I was connecting two people together. So the same thing goes for people in any other profession. If you take an interest in the other person's profession and truly try to help them out, it's remarkable what happens to you. You get it back in spades. So 80% of my business today comes from existing clients and referrals. And #1, I really believe we're all in this journey together, and we all need to help each other. And I bring that same philosophy to business too, that I try to do, connect my clients with resources, whether lending, perhaps venture capital, people they may want to hire, and And they know I'm not doing it with an expectation of any kind of business. But you mentioned one thing very important, which is people do business with somebody they like, with somebody they trust. And that's the axiom of any business anywhere in the world, not just in America. And I think if you follow that philosophy, you'll build your network and it'll grow in leaps and bounds.
We know that the marketplace has been very volatile over the last several years. In a post-Bernie Madoff, Alan Stanford era, what advice would you offer the novice investor who may not have $10 million to invest, but certainly know that they want to invest for the long term? Number one, and what should they do in choosing a financial advisor? And for someone who wants to invest in emerging markets, what advice would you offer them?
Basically, as an investor, you want to assume some responsibility for your finances. You want to get educated about investing, about financial planning to some extent. And there are all kinds of resources available online. And what I would do is to interview at least 3 advisors who basically work in the market you're in, regardless whether you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, or you're somebody looking for retirement income and retirement planning or education planning. There are lots of advisors who work in that area. I'd have them listen to you, and I'd have them come back to you with a proposal. And like anything else, apart from the proposal, which could be quite generic, you also want to get someone you can empathize with, you can relate to. And nobody can control the markets. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But you need someone who's well-centered and who's able to deal with the volatility of the markets and have a long-term perspective. So that's what I would do. And today, if you're an intelligent consumer, there are a lot of options available to you. And many people can invest on their own. If they have the time and the interest and the knowledge, they can invest on their own. But if, let's say, they want to delegate it, that's fine. An advisor is always going to cost you a little bit more, but that might be well worth the peace of mind. I'm very passionate about what's happening in emerging markets. If you look at the world today, 85% of the world's population lives in emerging markets. And these are places with less than $5,000 a year in per capita income, in many cases a few $100s a year. And what is happening in the world today, a very significant development, is the entire world has embraced the idea of free markets and entrepreneurship in one form or the other. Years ago, you had sort of the communist bloc. They're the most passionate. If you look at China and Russia, they're the most passionate entrepreneurs, in fact, possibly more capitalist than we are. And so because of that, many of these countries have been able to copy the models of the West and succeed. And I look at India as an example. Till 1990, India was sort of semi-socialist, burdened by regulation and bureaucracy. And the reason why India has done well the past 20 years is the government started trusting its own people and giving them an opportunity to build capital. The India I grew up in was an India where if you were wealthy, you were a separate class. It was very tough to become wealthy if you were middle class. And it was in India, it did not have the kind of opportunity it has today. So I'm really gratified. So I think emerging markets have a big role to play. I often say that the next washing machine is going to be bought by somebody in Beijing, not in New York. And the same thing with the next motorcycle or the next car. 85% of the world's people live there, so they're going to be the consumers of the world. So us in developed countries have to develop products and services which can help the emerging countries of the world. They're not going to follow the same path we did. It's going to be much faster. The learning curve is much shorter. And I think there's a way everybody can prosper. The world has 7 billion people, and 60% of the world today still lives under $2 a day. So look at the opportunity. If you're an entrepreneur, the opportunity to reach the bottom of the pyramid is amazing.
In closing, I would like to say that one of the things I have really come to admire about you, Raj, is that you live the mantra or the quote of Winston Churchill: you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. Your life is an exemplar of profits, people, and philanthropy. Can you share with us, what is it that fuels your passion?
You know, President Obama's election, I think, was a ringing endorsement of the new America. An America where, where everybody is given an opportunity. Everybody has a seat at the Thanksgiving table, as you mentioned. And the word diversity has had sort of a negative connotation. It has meant the exclusion of some people, which is not meant to be. And diversity essentially means that everybody has a seat at the table, everybody has a voice, and everybody gets an opportunity to succeed in America. So I think it's really, what we saw was really significant, the election, and the message it sends about a more inclusive and diverse country, and the role everybody can play in the development of the country. If we want America to be prosperous, then everybody has to come along on this journey. I have 4 children, and people often say that kids judge you by your actions, not your words. And if I can raise 4 kids who are responsible citizens of the world and who perhaps may, pick up a passion or two about philanthropy, I'd have done my bit in this world. So that's my sole motivation.